In this video, I'll be going through the biological molecules topic. I'll be going through ATP and water. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. This is because if you look at the structure of ATP, here you can see there is an adenine and a ribose sugar. Together it is called adenosine, and attached to the sugar are 3 phosphate groups, hence triphosphate. The structure may look familiar to you, and if you have seen my previous video on nucleic acids, you would have seen the structure there. The reason this structure looks familiar is because ATP is a nucleotide. ATP is the energy carrying molecule which is used in energy requiring metabolic reactions. One which you may have heard of is respiration. ATP is a universal energy currency. In your exam, it is important that you know about the structure of ATP and how it is adapted for its function, as well as the advantages of ATP. The advantages of ATP are that they release small amounts of energy, so none is wasted. The reaction to break ATP into ADP and phosphate is reversible and can be recycled. ATP is stable, so will not easily react inside cells. Finally, ATP releases energy quickly when broken down. So, how does ATP release energy? In order to release energy, a hydrolysis reaction occurs, and ATP turns into adenosine diphosphate, an inorganic phosphate. This reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme called ATPase. Now, how is ATP made? It is made by the combining of adenosine diphosphate and an inorganic phosphate by the enzyme ATP synthase. ATP can be made via photosynthesis or respiration, and it can be made in 2 ways. Chemiosmosis, which occurs during oxidative phosphorylation, which is the last stage of respiration. The hydrogen ions flow through ATP synthase, causing the combination of ADP with phosphate. The other option is substrate-level phosphorylation, which occurs during glycolysis, which is the first stage of respiration. This is where you can use a substrate to phosphorylate the ADP. Now, the important thing to remember is that ATP is not energy. ATP is a storage molecule for energy. Energy cannot be produced or destroyed. So now, water. Water is made up of 1 oxygen atom and 2 hydrogen atoms, and are bonded via covalent bonds. Oxygen is classed as a polar molecule. If you do chemistry A-level, you will know all about polarity, but if you don't, let me explain it for you. A covalent bond is a shared pair of electrons between 2 atoms. When an atom is more electronegative, which means it attracts the electrons more strongly than the other atom, the shared pair of electrons will move closer to the more electronegative atom. So, in water, between oxygen and hydrogen is a covalent bond. Oxygen is more electronegative than hydrogen, so the oxygen is more strongly attracted to the shared pair of electrons. As the electrons are closer to the oxygen, it becomes weakly negatively charged, and the hydrogen ions become weakly positively charged, as the electrons are further away from it, as you can see here. Now, remember, a negatively charged oxygen ion with a minus is different from a slightly negatively charged oxygen with a delta minus. If it is an ion, the oxygen atom has gained the electrons, whereas the slightly negative oxygen is where the electrons are closer to it, creating a negative area. So, there are 2 polar bonds in water. Due to the charge distribution, a dipole forms, as one side of the water molecule is slightly positively charged and the other side is slightly negative. Therefore, water is a polar molecule. Due to the polarity, water molecules form hydrogen bonds with neighbouring water molecules. In your exam, it is important you are able to draw hydrogen bonds between water molecules. You must represent the bond with these specific dashed lines. show the slightly negative and slightly positive charges on both the oxygen and hydrogen. Finally, in your exam you could be asked to talk about the properties of water and how water is adapted for its function. Water is used as a solvent as the polarity allows ions and other polar molecules to dissolve in it. Water also has a high specific heat capacity, therefore a large amount of energy is needed to raise its temperature, as a high amount of energy is needed to break the hydrogen bonds. It also has a high latent heat of vaporization. Again, due to a large number of hydrogen bonds, a large amount of energy is needed to change state from liquid to gas. Lastly, water molecules allow for cohesion and adhesion, as the hydrogen bonds between water molecules allow water to move as a column, seen in plants up the xylem during transpiration. I hope you found this video useful, and please give this video a like. If you want to see more videos like this, then please subscribe.